So Gracie, I went for a walk and I came back and she came out to meet me. And she's enjoying the golden hue of the sunset. I wish I would have taken a video this morning of the sunrise because, oh my goodness, it was kind of like the mist of Avalon, right? And I am the lady of the lake and I'm on my island. I was the only one awake around here, and we walk out and the sun is illuminating the mist in golden hues, and the mist is pretty thick. It's falling kind of like rain, actually. It was really thick. It was creating rivulets of water running down my little outdoor couch, and I guess I should stop swinging. I'm gonna swing right now. This morning I just really connected to God, and I guess I wanted to share some things with you guys in the hopes that maybe, look, I believe that we are called to be space makers of peace. Anyone who is listening to this, you might be feeling the intricate energies that play on the planet right now, and as you figure things out, as things are illuminated, you might maybe at times feel a little bit pressured. And this morning, God was reminding me of a concept I was meditating on years ago. And when I say God, I really, I'm talking about soul. I'm talking about connecting to the Most High God, this amazing, creative, flowing consciousness, which leads me into a story of a word picture. So years ago, I was hanging out with a lot of people who study the environment. I was living in Kansas in a university town. A lot of wildlife biologists, people who study wetlands and water systems, and it was a fun time of my life. And I learned a lot about hungry water, and I'm from a place where water is pretty prolific. We have extensive water systems here, and it's a beautiful place to be, and so, but and there's flooding right now in certain parts of our country, and when water comes like that, when the rivers, they start to get full of water, it's called hungry water. And sometimes we can see the water rushing, and there's a lot of timber in it, but this is the story of how the shore is actually created, new shore, the new lines of our river system. The river itself carves that out. And I fully feel, within what I've learned within my meditations and such, my readings, my travels, my exploration of art, all the things that I love and adore, I believe that we are a part of the consciousness of water, because we are made a lot of it and we feed it. We are a part of this beautiful cycle of what water is. And I felt God rise up in me and say, you are the hungry water. You are creating the new shore. Because I firmly feel and believe, I live within the United States, and there's been a lot of things that have happened, say, in our present memory banks, right, where we question the ideas of what our government is doing. We question the actions, because we see when we're walking around in our country, in our cities especially, we see mass amounts of devastation, really. And I saw, when I was in Washington, D.C., I saw a lot of people who are very energetically disconnected from body and from soul. A lot of people who are what I would consider being in true survival, which is outside of the connection to God and fully immersed within a system of, some people would call it economic slavery. I don't really see it like that anymore. I see it as a phase, a season of life that we go through because we were born into this time. I don't really take a negative view on the different stances that we all take in our lives anymore. And I think that's highly appropriate for what we're looking at. Because some of us could feel like, if you feel like you're the hungry water, right, and you're rushing and you're creating this new shoreline, really it's just part of a natural process. Eventually the water will recede, it'll feed the land, the trees will be really happy, and new sand will be made, right? And then there will be humans who understand how these things are being shaped and start to build sustainable structures with the river. And, my guy and I were floating on the lake the other day, and we've just been blessed with some kayaks. We paid for them, but, it was kind of like, a manifestation process. And so anyway, that's a different story, but we're on these kayaks, right? And I say out loud, I'm like, wow, what an idea. Kept water, what a thing. I always think about it like when we're drinking water out of plastic bottles or, anything out of my Berkey, right? I have kept water that I am keeping in a place, and I'm looking around me, and around here we've been experiencing some drought. And I'm like, do we keep water because we're afraid we won't find it anymore? That was my first thought, is why do we keep things? And I understand there's the necessary ideas of conservation and such. And there's these ideas of creating energy out of kept water. But I do think about the Earth's physics and the distribution of weight. I think about those things not out of fear, simply out of curiosity, questioning things. And so, from these questions, my guy said, how cool would it be, like, say if the lakes were drained, right? Not out of calamity, in a pre-planned way, right? And good, because where the lakes are here, it's just filling in the hollers, really. And, so then imagine if it were a controlled thing, you would have, you could fashion waterfall systems, irrigation systems. You would have the most amazing farmland at the bottom of these reservoirs. It would be incredible. You would have Garden of Eden. Not that this place isn't already one, but the immensity of the nutritional value of that soil is incredible if you really think about it. So, because we live within this dualistic thought place, right? Some people, the Gnostics would have called it the demiurge, right? And so, within those places in our minds, really, because that place is within the mind, it's within the swirl of emotion, we might think, well, there could be this great calamity where, say, war were to come and blast the dam structures and create great havoc. None of us really want that. And sometimes I think that the things that we're afraid of being destroyed are really the things we're meant to do the work, the steady work, and carefully planning the process of dismantling. I should say that again. The things that we're afraid of being destroyed are really the things that we're meant to do the careful work of properly dismantling so that we can build more healthy, equitable structures for all involved, for nature, for humanity, okay? And really it's for nature first because she feeds us. She does, and we're coming into everybody can feel it, some very intense energies that are the trumpet sounding quite literally within our own hearts. And it's calling us to focus on very simple things within our daily lives, simple basic structures, the everyday magic of simple, healthy living. How do we do that? How do we structure our days, and where do we where do we find joy, and how do we cultivate that joy? This is being the creative, artistic master of your particular reality. And this is quite a beautiful, breathtaking sight, the journey of your own life. And when you really are able to put yourself more into the observer driver's seat, which is soul of your own life, and you witness all of the things, even the things that you feel like you've messed up royally, right? There's so much grace because you realize that you wouldn't be able to look at a lake and be gracious about it and understand that you're floating atop one of the most magnificent, nutritionally loaded Garden of Edens. Maybe not in this lifetime, maybe it's the next, maybe not in my lifetime, right? Maybe it's for another time. But I think that this kind of paradigm just totally dismantles, if you will, any paradigms of destruction that are cataclysmic beyond what we could all wish to live through. I think that there is, going through the eye of the needle, there is a steady, slow process, which is grace unfolding. And the more of us who open our hearts and listen to this kind of guidance and just simply do the work and pay no mind to those who are, maybe not participating, maybe they're lost in the swirl of addiction. That's happening a lot right now. For everything there is a season. We must be careful not to judge, because none of us know the particular path anybody's been on. All we can do is simply, when we meet, when we show up, we can offer grace, infinite eighths full of grace, which is, in my feeling, water, which is rain. And the book of Proverbs says that rain falls on the just and the unjust, right? Which is actually in some way a great mystery. Why is it that the unjust also have what they need, right? So this is energy play at work. And it pulls judgment out of our hands and puts it right within the lap or the hands of God. And that's where it should be, because that thing, that being, Father God, right, is the author and finisher of faith, but then also faith, the essence of things not seen, right? So all of these, the laws of energy, that when we're children, we don't really have a firm grasp of, but when we become adults, we're like, oh, okay, we know how to work with these things, because these laws are our tools, actually. And this is how we become masters. And going back to this concept of hungry water, man, you guys, you have lifetimes, infinite lifetimes of knowledge and abundance from that knowledge and wisdom to pull from. If we can carefully and absolutely become vessels for that wisdom to flow into our hearts and illuminate our minds, every answer that we need will be provided. And what's interesting is what I found myself thinking today in the afternoon was, my goodness, I can see all of these maybe little chaos tornadoes that I might need to deal with, or there's, solutions that need to be enacted, right? There's possibilities of chaos I can see over here and over there. And I found myself become increasingly just bored of the thought. Instead, I want to turn my attention to, well, what does bring me creative joy again? And what does nourish my soul, my heart? Because that's where the solution lies. So what a fascinating idea, that instead of us getting goaded into trepidation and fear, that we can ground in peace which passes our own understanding, even in times of intense chaos and turmoil, the threat of war, perhaps, these things. And we can hold each other close and say, but love conquers all. Why? Because it does, and it always will, because it's what we hold the most valuable. We understand that our love is the most valuable thing. And this is what we have to stand upon. So as the lights come up the road and illuminate this video, I wish you blessings. And this video is a lot more peaceful than the last one I've posted here on Catwalks. I was pretty energetically lit, and I'm energetically lit in a different way today. So, you know, just, hey, have a beautiful night wherever you are, and wherever you, whenever you decide to click on this video. You know, honestly, my deepest prayer for you is that whatever you need in your life, healing generally is what all of us need. May it be given. May you be shown the pathway of your healing, what you need in your life. And if you want to, I am not always available to respond, but you can always leave a comment and just put it out there. Sometimes it's helpful to voice the things that we're struggling with on the path to our own solution, the opening to grace and love. Sometimes it's necessary to connect. So if you want to leave a comment here, you're more than welcome to. I will admit I rarely make comments in places until I feel safe to do so. It's who I am. It's my process. So I'm kind of a solitary being. That's why my channel is named Catwalks, because I've traveled to 11 countries, and a lot of it I did solo. And not all of it I did, not at the beginning, but the middle part of my life I was alone. So I understand the path of being alone. So, you know, this compulsion to get on here and make videos and all of this, it's more, I really just want to be of service. And I check my heart, and I want to make sure that I am of service. And so may this be a blessing to you. My long rambling statement is over. Just simply, may this be a blessing. Peace.